At the start of the movie, we see a river filled with people excitedly watching the salmon swim by. Everyone is cheering and celebrating as the fish move gracefully in and out of the water. Among the crowd are a father and his son, Vic, who are enjoying the moment together. Vic dances happily with his dad, matching the rhythm of the fish as the sun sets. After the show, they head home, playing along the way. Vic rides on his dad's shoulders, and his father gives him a flashlight, making Vic really happy. They share a strong bond, spending lots of time playing games and having fun. However, one day, Vic's dad gets a promotion at work, which means he has to work more hours. This change affects their time together, and soon, Vic finds himself going to the river alone for the salmon migration celebration, feeling sad that his dad can't join him. As time goes on, Vic grows up and becomes really interested in science and technology. He focuses so much on his passion that he starts to neglect his schoolwork, leading to poor grades. When his dad finds out about Vic's bad grades, he gets really angry and upset. He takes all of Vic's tools and gadgets and burns them, even tossing away the flashlight he had given him. This makes Vic really sad, so he decides to leave home and find a new place to live. Fast forward a few years. Now Vic has grown up and is living alone in a place called Pine Mountain. One day, he's working on a machine and trying to do an experiment, but it doesn't go well. Feeling down, he wonders why it's not working. Suddenly, he sees a shadow at the door of his workshop. Curious, he grabs a wrench and checks outside, but there's nothing there, so he shuts the door, unaware that a bear has sneaked inside. Vic senses something is off and looks around, but the bear keeps hiding. Eventually, he discovers that two brother bears named Briar and Bramble are the ones sneaking around. They think Vic is trying to cut down trees with his machine and get ready to attack him. Vic, scared, explains that his machine is actually meant to double the size of things, not chop down trees. The bears realize they were mistaken and leave. Just then, Vic's phone rings and it's his mom. She tells him that his dad is coming to visit him, which makes Vic nervous. He rushes to the train station to meet his dad, and to his surprise, his dad is happy to see him and gives him a big hug. They drive back to Vic's house, but things get a bit awkward because they don't know what to talk about. The next morning, Vic's dad wakes up early to make Vic's favorite breakfast. When Vic gets up, he's super excited to see his favorite meal waiting for him, and he digs in right away. They spend the day playing and having fun, just like they used to when Vic was younger. But after a few days of this routine, Vic starts to feel frustrated because he can't work on his tech projects. One morning, Vic's dad walks into his workshop without noticing a sign that says not to enter. He looks around and is amazed at how messy it is, so he starts cleaning up. When Vic comes in and sees his dad there, he asks what he's doing. His dad tries to explain, but accidentally kicks a wire, causing a bunch of tools to fall and setting off the big machine that explodes. When the smoke clears, Vic runs over and sees that the machine is gone, and he gets really mad at his dad. His dad tries to explain that he was just trying to help and gives Vic a flashlight he used to have as a kid. Vic, feeling angry, throws the flashlight on the floor and brings up his childhood. He then tells his dad to leave the house. Here Briar and Bramble splash around in the river, hoping to catch some fish, but they can't find any. Bramble grumbles about the lack of fish and wonders why they're not around. Suddenly, they spot a beautiful young lady coming their way, so they quickly hide. This lady is a reporter, and she starts taking pictures of the river, curious about why the salmon have begun their migration. Once she leaves, the bears come out of hiding, but then they hear a chainsaw and decide to run toward the noise. Meanwhile, Vic is sitting on the ground in the forest with a torch that can change the size of things. He smirks, thinking about how he might finally have control over the bears. As he sits there, two bugs crawl across his face, and he catches one, tossing it into the bushes. Briar and Bramble approach him, wanting to know what he's up to. Vic explains how the torch works, telling them that the machine in his lab wasn't a magnifier, but a minimizer. He shares that after the mess his dad made in his workshop, the machine shrank down to a toy size, so he put it inside the torch and made a coping machine to make it actually work. After telling his story, Vic tries to use the gadget on the bears to shrink them, but it doesn't work. The bears start walking toward him, ready to confront him, so Vic takes off running, with the bears chasing after him. They dash through the trees and over rocks until Vic trips and falls, dropping the torch. Briar and Bramble catch up to him, but Vic tries to distract them by pointing at the torch, which is sparking in their direction. The bears ignore him, and suddenly, a spark flies out, hitting Briar, Bramble, and also Vic. Back at the house, Vic's dad calls out that dinner is ready but doesn't see his son, so he goes out to search for him in the forest. Vic and the bears slowly regain consciousness and look around. They are surrounded by plants. Bramble spots a cute caterpillar, but suddenly it wants to eat them. But before it can, a huge bird swoops down and snatches it away. After eating it, the bird looks enormous to Vic and the bears, and they feel scared as it turns its gaze toward them, trying to catch them too. Just then, a young monkey jumps in and grabs the bird, saving them. The bears are confused and ask Vic what's going on. He explains that they've shrunk, but they think he's just playing a trick on them. Suddenly, a frog appears and starts chasing them. Now, the bears also understand what is going on here. Vic tells the bears that the torchlight can return them to their normal size, so they need to distract the frog while he goes to find it. They manage to keep the frog busy, and Vic spots the torchlight in the distance. He tells the bears, and they all run toward it, but an old monkey jumps in and snatches it away, causing them to fall. Vic's dad sees the torchlight and picks it up before the monkey can. He calls out for Vic in the forest, and Vic and the bears shout back, but his dad can't see them because they are so tiny. Vic calls out again, but his dad walks further away and doesn't hear him. Soon, Vic gets really tired and collapses on the ground. As darkness falls, they shuffle through the forest, feeling exhausted and hungry. Bramble spots some chocolate and rushes toward it, but a sharp blade from a praying mantis stops him. He screams, which brings his brother and Vic running to help. The insect scares them and tells them to leave, and they quickly obey. However, the mantis recognizes Vic. It's the same one he had thrown away when he was a normal-sized human. The mantis grabs Vic and tries to attack him, but another insect swoops in to save him. This new insect and the mantis start fighting fiercely, and after a tough battle, the mantis is defeated and thrown deep into the forest. The rescuer introduces himself as Shadow Shell, and Vic tells him about their troubles, asking for help to get home. Shadow Shell agrees, but wants chocolate as payment, and Vic happily agrees. They set off toward Vic's house to set on another animal. When they arrive, they find that Vic's dad has left and taken the flashlight with him. He also left a note for Vic, which makes him feel emotional. They decide to go after his dad. Shadow Shell provides them with a bird to help them on their journey. However, Shadow Shell falls asleep, and they lose control of the bird, crashing onto a restaurant's dining table. They're scared at first, but then they see that everyone at the table is too busy on their phones. But then a little baby sees them and wants to catch them. They also tried hard to sneak away, but the little baby also tried hard to catch them. Then the little baby reaches to them and wants to eat them. Fortunately, a woman catches him. But soon, they all get washed into the sewers, and they experience a long fall. As they fall, they get tangled in spider webs and end up stuck in a big web ball. Soon, a spider attacks them, but luckily, a group of lobsters comes to the rescue and fights off the spider. The lobsters introduce themselves to Vic and the bears, but just then, 2 more spiders show up to attack. Shadow Shell, who is sleeping, suddenly wakes up and battles the spiders, freeing Briar, Bramble, and Vic from the web ball. The lobsters bow down to Shadow Shell, impressed by his fighting skills. After that, they all hop onto a boat, and Vic sadly shares stories about his childhood with his dad, expressing his regret about how he said goodbye. Their boat arrives at a charming little city called Pipesburg. Then Vic and the bears admire its beauty. The lobsters tell Vic that there's a drone that could take him to his dad, but it was stolen by an evil insect named Trickaboo. Vic decides they need to get the drone back, so they come up with a plan and set off on their mission. The team successfully retrieves the drone from Trickaboo and his minions, and Vic and the boys take off to find his father. Meanwhile, Vic's dad is at a train station, waiting for his train to leave. When Briar, Bramble, and Vic arrive, their drone accidentally hits a monkey, causing them to crash to the ground. Vic spots the train starting to move and runs as fast as he can to jump on, but Shadow Shell stops him for his own safety. Feeling heartbroken, Vic sits on the ground when suddenly he sees his dad chasing after a hen. Vic and his friends climb a cat and follow him down the road, where Vic's dad is still in pursuit of the hen. In the meantime, some boys are trying to hide an unconscious body nearby. They try to hide the unconscious female reporter. Just when Vic's dad is about to catch them, the monkey that had followed him from Pine Mountain attacks. The torchlight falls and starts sparking, catching Vic's dad's attention. He picks it up. Then Vic also reaches here and tries to stop his dad. But the rays from it cause also his father to shrink. Then Vic rushes to his dad. His dad is confused about what just happened. In the meantime, a cleaner arrives and sweeps the flashlight, Vic and his dad away, tossing it into a bin. Then Briar and Bramble rush to save them. But then they see the reporter's unconscious body. Here Vic and his dad loaded onto a waste truck. After some time, the truck drives off to the dump with Vic and his dad inside. Vic explains everything to his father and tells him they need to find the torchlight to return to normal. Later, Vic spots the torchlight, but as the truck starts dumping trash at the dump, he loses his balance. His dad catches him, but while trying to help, he gets buried under the falling trash. Everything goes quiet, and Vic can't find his dad anywhere. While searching, he discovers his childhood diary that his father had with him. In that book, his dad wrote down all the things they would do together. Vic starts to cry, wishing his dad would come back. Suddenly, he hears his name and sees his father emerging from under a board he was sitting on. They share a warm hug, but then they notice that the dump is blocking the river, which is why the salmon haven't been able to migrate this year. Vic and his dad spot the kidnappers dumping trash illegally into the river, and they decide they need to stop them. Nearby, Briar, Bramble, and Shadow Shell follow the reporter as she heads to the dump to catch the trash dumpers. Vic and his dad jump into the truck and take the key so the garbage boys can't dump any more waste. But the boys see the key. But in the meantime, Shadow Shell comes set on the hen and tries to snatch the key. After a long chase, the wicked boys catch the key. But in the meantime, the reporter comes and snatches the key from the kidnappers. After that, the reporter throws the key into the garbage. And away from there. Briar and Bramble also arrive at the dump. They reunite with Vic, and together they try to retrieve the torchlight from the dump. But as the river starts flowing, they lose their balance and fall into the water. They grab onto a rope that Shadow Shell is holding while Vic's dad stays on the shore. Vic notices the torchlight and lets go of the rope to grab it. Unfortunately, the rope snaps and Briar and Vic's dad start to drown. Vic manages to hold onto the torchlight, jumps into the water, and turns it on while swimming toward his dad. A few moments later, a bright beam of light shines through the water, and Vic, his dad, Briar, and Bramble all emerge, back to their normal sizes. They're super excited and head home. The next day, they watch the salmon migrate across the river, and Vic and his dad dance together, enjoying the moment just like they used to. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you.